second part of how to control the mind. I hope you are able to see my screen and also able to hear me. Mrutyunjay Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu, it's visible.
Okay, perfect. So let's offer our humble obeisances to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, founder Acharya of International Society for Krishna Consciousness, seeking his blessing so that we get some insight of Bhagavad Gita and hear the message of Bhagavad Gita directly from Lord Sri Krishna. So let's offer our humble obeisances to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pachyanta Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we are now almost sixth session end, part 2, and so we have almost coming to the 9th week. And welcome all of you. Thanks for all of you are joining very consistently, a regular basis to hear the message of Bhagavad Gita in a very practical way. So today we will continue so of course now we have all this covered in the first 4 sessions. Why Bhagavad Gita? What is the success formula? Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna Yatra Partho Dhanurdhara. Root cause of all suffering is attachment to body. Temporary things, which actually mainly talks about the body. And next session we discuss about the art of work, how we should be doing the work. There is some message that audio is low. Is it okay now? Vishwarup Prabhu, can you confirm? Okay, thank you. And then about the art of work, we discussed we cannot be idle, and at the same time we cannot engage into activities which are against the scriptural. So there is a good activity, we get the good result. We engage into the bad activity, we get the bad result. But nevertheless, it would actually make us to take the birth again. And then we discuss about what is that pushes us to do the bad work. Then we discussed about, do I need a guide? Knowledge means character and the sense control, and sense control is very difficult. So we have a choice before we take the action. But once we are into the action, it's very difficult to go back. So it is very important that we take the very judicious decision before the action. However, the person like Arjuna had actually sought the guidance. What to talk about us? So definitely we need also guidance, but our attitude sometimes stops us saying that I know everything and I don't need any guidance. But once we know we need a guidance, then how do we approach the guide? So we saw the mode of tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattodashina 4.34. Then we saw that there is a possibility of getting exploited. So we have to be very cautious. Then we discuss about the qualities of the real sadhu. Karunika titikshasva suhridam sarvadehi nam ajata shatru shanta sadhava sadhu bhushanam. So we discuss the qualities of sadhus. So we are coming to the part 1 where we discuss the nature of mind and then a regulation of mind. So today we'll be discussing about regulation of the mind, why regulation is very difficult, and what if I try and fail. And very important today, we are going to see a very, very special video of a celebrity who turned to Krishna. So don't miss. At the end, we'll be watching this video. So before that, let me have a one quick poll. What is the nature of mind? What is not the nature of mind? So please be careful. Be aware that the question is that what is not a nature of mind? First is the chanchalam, easy to control. Balavat means very strong. What is not? Please be careful. What is not the nature of mind? Chanchalam, very flickering. Chanchalam means very flickering, easy to control, and balavat means very strong. So initially we had some poll about the Chanchalam and Balavat. So let's see quickly. We have 70% vote and share the results. So yes, it is not very easy to control the mind. Mind is very chanchalam. We saw that shloka from Bhagavad Gita 6.34. Arjuna saying, Chanchal hi Krishna manha pramati balav drudham tasyaham nigraham manner vayur eva su dushkaram. It is very difficult to control the mind because it's a chanchalam, pramadi, balav drudham, very strong, obstinate. It is even more difficult to control than a wind. So that is where, so the answer is that it is not easy to control the mind. Chanchalam, it is the nature of mind. Chanchalam, balavat, it's a nature of mind, but not easy to control. So last week, just a quick recap what we discussed. Mind is very powerful material element, though it is a subtle, but it's one of the subtle body. Mind, bhumi rapo ano lavayu kam mano buddhi recha ahankara itiyam me bhinna prakriti rashtada. So mind is also one of the material element, but it's very difficult. It's very strong. Chanchal hi mana Krishna, balam, very obstinate, powerful. So, but if it is controlled, we saw the Bhagavad Gita 6.6. It says that if we control, it is the bandhus, it is the friend. But otherwise, if we don't control that mind, it becomes the worst enemy. Then we saw that how mind makes us very crazy. Just like we saw the video of the small child going to the shopping and he doesn't get what he wanted, and then he makes the show up there. And we as an adult may not do exactly what the child does, but we do internally the similar stuff. So mind wants us makes us happy. It actually makes us work very hard, but still we are not happy. So what is going wrong there? So we discussed that because the goal that we have set, that's the wrong goal that we have set for ourselves. And how did we set the wrong goals? Because we saw advertisement, we saw the society doing that, and we thought that this is the right goal to have for ourselves. So then finally we saw that how the mind has become the master. We saw that the chariot and the analogy of the body and the chariot and the mind, the intelligence should control mind. Indriyanni paranyahur 3.42. Indriyanni paranyahur indriyope para mana manastu para buddhi ye buddhi para tastu saha. So intelligence should control mind, mind should control the senses. But here, mind becomes so powerful that it is controlling the intelligence rather serving the intelligent. So today we'll discuss what is the function of mind, how to control the mind, and if I'm not able to control, what would happen, and the effect of the sense control. And of course, please note about the special videos that which we will be having, and then practical tip at the end of the session. So how does mind function? Any quick chart? How does mind function? I hope chart is open. So any quick one, how does mind function? We discussed this earlier, but based on the sense pleasure, Chidanandan Prabhu, okay. Any other thought? Lots of desire like monkey, chanchal hi mana Krishna, moves between past and present, thoughts, gets disturbed very easily. Very true, very easily it gets. Mind is like a river. Okay. So, as we discussed earlier, mind has a functionality called thinking, feeling, and willing. So, if you just analyze that, that is where we have today in our social media, we have likes and dislikes. But unfortunately, we don't have a button for what is right and what is wrong. So we can understand that how this media is actually giving us hope or promises that your likes and dislikes has a lot of value, and but we don't know how much actually is creating the chaos in terms of the in terms of that the thought process that we are actually going through that. So it means that it tells us that our opinion has a lot of value. However, if we come to the Vedic knowledge, Vedic knowledge means the Vedic way of means we go to the knowledgeable person and hear from him, and we speak less. And that is why it is said that God has given one mouth and two ears, because we speak less and we hear a lot. But today we are promoted to speak a lot and hear less. And because of this liking and disliking, it is actually clouding our intelligence. And when our intelligence get clouded, then we know that it becomes the subservient to the mind, and then mind actually takes from there, and it actually makes us run. Let us see what Lord Krishna actually talks about, that how the intelligence get covered. We discussed this shloka earlier, but again, in this context, we will see this. आवृतं ज्ञानम् एतेन ज्ञानिनो नित्यवैरिणां कामरूपेण कौन्तेय दुष्प्रेरेणानलेन च. It says, thus the wise living entity's pure consciousness becomes covered by his eternal enemy, which is never satisfied and which burns like a fire. So let's have the quick second poll. What is one impelled? What is one impelled to sinful acts? Lust, money, or the poverty? Okay, so we'll quickly end the poll here, and most of them are saying that yes, it is the lust we saw on the screen, and thus the wise living entity's pure consciousness becomes covered by his eternal enemy in the form of lust, which is never satisfied and which burns like a fire. So when Arjuna asked the question, Krishna, I don't know, something nichena, something is pushing me without my desire to do something. So what is that? Then Krishna says that kama esha krodha esho rajo guna samudbhav mahashano mahapapano vidya enam eva vairinam. He says it is nothing but the kama, the lust. So this is what the lust is driving us. Unfortunately, Krishna is saying in this shloka here, which is never satisfied. What does it means? It means that once you provide mind what it wants, will it become happy? Never. In fact, then it becomes stronger and stronger and stronger, and it wants more and more and more. So this is what actually, unfortunately, it wants more and more and more. So we feel that just do it, or dil mange more. So if we give what mind wants, we are actually putting the fuel on the fire. So what would happen if you put the fuel on the fire? If you put the fuel on the fire doesn't get extinguished. Rather, it actually starts burning with more vigor. So this is what happens if mind is provided what it wants, then we are putting ourselves under the control of mind. And next time, if we see the same object, if we see the same thing, it actually demands in a more stronger way. So outside, we are told that if you get what you want, you will be the happiest person. But Bhagavad Gita is telling us that if you try to satisfy the mind, which will never satisfy and which burns like a fire. Let us see here quick thought process from all the participants. We have almost a good number of participants here. How many of you are thinking that mind gets satisfied when it provided what it wants? Can we have a quick thought here on the chat box? Mind never gets satisfied. No, never. Chidanandam Prabhu is putting some star mark, satisfied. Never, no, no. It wants more of that. Yes, Vinay Prabhu. Mind always wants more. It is never satisfied. Impossible. Yes. Keeps us asking for more. Mind never satisfies. Temporarily gets satisfied, but the time flies, it wants more and it wants more. So giving pleasure to mind is like a pouring fuel to the fire. So that is what Bhagavad Gita actually tells us. So we have to be very, very careful providing what mind wants. So we'll discuss some of the points today. So what is this covering that we are talking about, that the mind gets covered or the intelligence gets covered? Here Krishna says in the similar shloka or the Bhagavad Gita, it says, धूमेन वीर्यते वह्निर् यथार्दशो मलेन च यथोल्बेनावृतो गर्भस् तथा तेनेदम avrutam. A fire, so here is saying that our intelligence covered by this lust. Now there are three types of lust Krishna is actually telling here, and then the degree of cover depends upon the how it actually completely gets covering our intelligence, and in that degree it is actually categorized. So the first category is called the fire is covered by smoke. It's a very thin covering. So that is what the consciousness of the human beings. Second is that the mirror is covered by dust. It is little thicker, probably the consciousness of the birds and the beast. And the third and the more thickest is the embryo is covered by the womb. So that is the helpless like a trees. The living entity is similarly covered by the different degrees of this lust. So Krishna is saying that these are the three different degrees of the coverings. So similarly, the human being's consciousness typically gets in a different degrees of the lust. But in a general way, the human consciousness is in a kind of smoke and fire, where the smoke and fire is not that thick, but as you go to the birds and the beast and the trees, it's become thicker and thicker and thicker. And that is why, since our consciousness is not that thicker, that is why the human form of species that we have opportunity to understand that. But if you ask the other birds and the beast, they will not able to understand. They cannot understand Bhagavad Gita. Of course, there are some exceptional cases, but in general, the animals cannot understand that because their intelligence is covered by a very thick degree of this consciousness. So now the question comes, now where does this lust actually get hiding? Because we know that lust is our enemy, but we should also know where does it hide. So here Krishna gives the answer, the locations that it actually hides. Indriyani manobuddhir asyayadhistanam uchyate etair vimohyatesham dhyanam avrutya dehinam. Krishna says, it is a three location, oh Arjuna, this lust is actually hiding. Just like now, when the enemy is targeting us or attacking us, so first it hides and then actually it's attacked. So similarly, we should know where this enemy is hiding. And that enemy is hiding at three places, Krishna says. Indriyani, senses. Manaha, mind. Buddhir, intelligence. These are the three sitting places of the lust. Through them, the lust covers the real knowledge of the living entity and it bewilders. So this knowledge is destroyed by lust. And these are the three sitting places. So we have to be very, very, so if we have to um, remove this covering, we have to be very careful that we don't get into trap of that fulfilling the desires of the mind, which actually makes our covering thicker and thicker and thicker. And that is what happens when we fulfill any desire which is not in line with the scriptures, or which does not take us to the higher purpose. Then it is like as we discussed, that it's like a fuel in the fire, because every time we fulfill that, every time the covering becomes stronger and thicker and thicker and thicker, and it becomes very difficult. That is why when the people start smoking or any kind of habit, initially it's very easy, but as we take more and more and more and get into that thick covering becomes stronger and thicker, and then it becomes very difficult, and the individual gets into that addictions, and then finally very, very difficult to overcome. So that is why it is very important. We have very good chance to control anything beginning, but once we get into that, it's very difficult. So then what happens, we saw that mind works on the likes and dislikes, and sometimes it also goes into the swing pendulum. Either we get into completely fulfilling our desire, that is a complete bhoga, or we get into the extremes of tyaga. So the mind works into this swinging of this, either extremes of this end or that end. So we have to be very careful that we have to be very balanced, and in a way that, because we have a indriyas, we have a senses, it doesn't mean that we don't eat, we must eat, but it should be in a very regulated way. And we see that what Krishna actually advises us, how we should be very regulated way in our activities while fulfilling the desires which are very necessary. We cannot be both extremes, either completely enjoyment or completely renounced. That is not possible for us as a normal as a general living entities. So now the question comes, how to control the mind? Before that, let us see from Srila Prabhupada. He writes in Nectar of Instruction, he says that in all spiritual affairs, one's first duty is to control his mind and senses. So Prabhupada says that it is very important, utmost important, that we must control our mind and senses. And what if we don't able to control? Unless we control his mind and senses, one cannot make advancement in a spiritual life. Srila Prabhupada is actually telling us. So it is very important for all of us to control the mind. So let us see any suggestions. And that is the question last time Shobha Mataji asked, how do we control the mind? So we are going to that area, how to control the mind. Let's have some thought here on the chat box. How to control the mind? What do you think that we can do so that we can control our mind? Because many sessions, everybody is asking the questions, how do we control the mind? Any thought on the chat box, please? Surrender to Krishna, Chidanandam Prabhu, okay? We should control our desires, Renu Mataji. Meditation, regular meditation. Meditation and chanting, meditation, think less, meditate yoga, not to get chanchala and chant Hare Krishna, Shobha Mataji, okay? Trying to keep Krishna at the center and perform our duty. Very good. By controlling all senses, getting into spirituality and meditations, Nirbhay Prabhu. Practice meditation, self-talk, Priya Ram Guru Mataji. Control by surrendering to Krishna, meditation, Anjali Mataji. We need to keep higher consciousness at the mind, always good. Be in consciousness, okay? Good. Thank you very much for your... We'll see from Bhagavad Gita perspective, and also general things, how we can control the mind. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, spiritual master of Srila Prabhupada, he says that if we have to control the mind, there are two typical ways that we can control. One is ignore the mind, or second thing is that engage the mind in a proper way. Otherwise, when Arjuna, at his caliber, he said that Chanchal Mana Krishna, is very difficult to control the mind. Then what to talk about people for us at our level in this Kali Yuga after 5,000 years later, is very difficult. So, just like as a picture we are saying, how the ringmaster controls the ferocious animals when they are brought to the circus. Of course, today that may not be the things, but in general, earlier days when the ringmaster actually gets all these animals to the circus, so what does he do? He actually make them starve, because initially they are very ferocious, roaring like anything, but eventually when he make them starve, and then actually they start listening to him. So similarly, controlling mind is very difficult. So either we have to ignore it, or we have to engage the mind in a proper way. So here it is said that we have to tell the mind very strongly, you are not the master. In fact, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that we have to, every day morning, we have to tell ourselves that we have to beat our mind with the broom every day, broom, morning and evening, and tell that mind that you shut up. Don't tell me which is not my aligned with my higher purpose. So, for example, if we have to get early in the morning, it's so difficult. And why it is difficult? Because the mind tells us that, oh, let's sleep some more time. Oh, it's just now 6 o'clock, or it's just 7 o'clock. So then what we have to do, we have to engage the mind in a very positive way. Vishaya vinivartante, Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, beautiful shloka 2.5. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya rasavarja rasopi asya param dhrashta nivartate. So the best way of controlling mind, Krishna says that we cannot control the mind just like a small child. If he's playing with the knife, and if you say give up the knife, he will not give. But if you say that, okay, take this ball, and then you play with the ball, so what happens? Automatically he will give up the knife. So similarly, we have to give our mind a better taste. We have to give mind a better engagement, and we have to engage we have to engage our mind in that way. And that is why these all different tips that we have been telling to you, that help us so that we engage mind in a better way. Otherwise, if we say that I will control my mind and have no desires, that is next to the impossible. That is not possible. We have to engage our mind in a positive ways. Now, you all are here now from last 9 sessions, and now also almost half an hour we are discussing something. How are you feeling? That do you feel that your mind is very chanchal now at this point of moment? Let's have some thought here. Or because your mind is getting engaged, you are feeling in a better way that you are able to control the mind. Some thought on the chat box. How is your experience? Yes, when engaged, no issues. When free, problem begins. Yes, better as we are engaged. Yes, Chanchala, Shobha Mataji says that yes, but still is of challenges. Minara Prabhu, yes, able to control the mind in a better way to an extent. Over a period of time, it's engaged. Yes. So this is what, just a small example, because our mind is continuously working, thought process. There is no way that we can stop the mind unless we engage mind in a positive way. And that is where these spiritual practices tells us, by reading Bhagavad Gita, by hearing Bhagavad Gita, by reciting the shlokas, by hearing the topics about Lord Sri Krishna, chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So we are actually engaging mind in a positive sense. So initially, just like the animal is very stronger, the more we actually starve it, the more we starve it, the more we starve it, the more it becomes tame, and finally the ring master is able to control the animal. So we have to make the mind servant of intelligence. Martin Luther King said that our scientific power has outrun our spiritual power. We have guided missiles, but we have misguided men. Very true. So what we need is the regulations of our mind. Today, what are we trained? What we are actually promoted from our childhood? We are trained that the modern education, if you get it, you will get. So what is the purpose of all this education? That we want to get money. And we discuss about getting the knowledge means not about getting the money. Knowledge means about the sense control and the character. But we are trained. Now today, there might be some highly sought profession, because it actually gives a lot of money. But if we are told that this highly sought profession does not give any money in return, how many of us would actually like to go opt for that? Not many, because the modern education actually tells us to go for the money. So, but we have been hearing that knowledge means sense control and the character. So mind control means a regulated mind. So how to be regulated? There are two scenarios that where we can actually regulate our mind. So again, so what we discussed earlier is that we cannot control mind unless we engage the mind. So now how do we engage the mind? What are the ways that we can control? There are two scenarios that we actually regulate ourselves. First is that bad things to avoid, and second thing is that good things to be cultivate. So now the question comes, what are the good things to cultivate? Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, 6th chapter, 16th shloka, very important. It appears in the 6th chapter. Nate ashnastu yogisti na chaikanta anashnataha na chati swapnasilasya jagrato naiva charjuna. He says, there is no possibility of once becoming a yogi, O Arjuna, who, if one eats too much or he eats too little, he sleeps too much or does not sleep enough. So now the question comes, in Bhagavad Gita, why does Krishna talk so basic things here? What is he talking about? What he's actually telling us? What to regulate? Two things he's telling us to regulate. And in the subsequent shloka he's actually tell some more things. But here he's telling us two important things. Eating not too much or too little, sleeping too much or does not sleep. So then there is no possibility of one becoming yogi. Yogi means yujyate. It comes from the Sanskrit word yujyate, means connecting to the higher consciousness, connecting to the Lord Sri Krishna. Yoga means connections, yujyate. So if we want to connect with Krishna, then one must be very regulated in our eating and in our sleeping. And why one should actually regulate this? Because it affects our mind. For example, if we sleep too much, it is said that we become lazy, and if we sleep too little, it makes us crazy. So we have to be very regulated in our eating and in our sleeping. So I hope you are able to follow the discussions what we are doing. So we started with that mind has to be controlled. The control mind means engaging the mind. So there are two ways we discuss that. One is that ignoring the mind and positive engagement to the mind. And then we discuss the two things that one must regulate our mind, in a sense that regulating our negative or the bad habits and cultivating the good habits. And here Krishna is directly telling us, advising all of us, instructing all of us that one must be very regulated in our eating and in our sleeping habits. Very, very famous shloka. If you go to all the yoga centers, you will actually hear this shloka. Krishna is taking additional things. What are the regulated ways? What happens if you are not a regulated way? And what happens if we are very regulated in our habits? Krishna says, very famous shloka, 6th chapter, 17th shloka. Yukta hara viharasya, yukta chestasya karmasu, yukta swapna bodasya, yoga bhavati dukkha ha. Dukkha means miseries, material pains. He says, Lord Krishna says, he who is regulated in habit of yukta ahara, eating, viharasya, sleeping, and the recreation and work, he can mitigate all material planes. Yoga bhavati dukkha, all the material planes, by practicing the yoga system. So we must be very regulated in our eating, in our sleeping, recreation, and our work. But again, very important that why we should be very regulated, as we discussed, that if we don't regulate in our eating, if we eat too much, it'll have material diseases, body or something. And if we don't eat too much, we will become thin, and then we will not be able to have energy to do any activity. So we should be very regulated. Just like that, we saw that we cannot be bhoga and taga, the extremes of the pendulum. The pendulum will not work. So we have to, we need to take as much as the body needed, not much more than that. In fact, if I were to tell you what I had from one of the devotees, that if we have to eat, one third of our stomach should be kept free for the air, one third of our stomach should be filled with the water, and one third of our stomach should be actually filled with food or anna. But if you eat too much, then we know what happens. So many things, the indigestion and so many things. And if you don't eat, we don't have energy. So Krishna says that if we are regulated, yukta ahara viharasya yukta chestasya karmasu yukta sapna vodasya yoga bhavati dukha, will be able to mitigate all the miseries by regulation in eating, sleeping, recreation, and our work. Probably now this is the time when most of the whole world is actually crippling under this corona, and many of the people actually telling that if you are very if your immunity is very strong, there is a most likely that the corona will not attack you. And how does that regulation come? This is where Krishna is actually telling. So you can see that how if we follow the very simple practices of living simple life, then we will actually free from all the material pains. Here Krishna is telling, which Krishna told 5,000 years ago, and today we are experiencing that the people who are very regulated in their eating, sleeping, and all their habits, living very simple life, they are able to overcome the difficulties, or they are keeping themselves aloof. They are able to immune themselves from these coronaviruses. We can so beautiful practical applications of the Krishna's principles in Bhagavad Gita. Simple regulation in our eating. Then Krishna continues to tell Arjuna that how do you continue this practice of controlling the mind? Somebody say, oh, it's very difficult, I cannot control. Krishna is telling the practice. Krishna is telling the tips for all of us, formula for all of us. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. This is the soon after the shloka where Arjuna says, Chanchal hi mana Krishna. And the next shloka is 6.34. He says, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, he says, Asamchayam mahabaho mano durnigram chalam abhyasene tu kaunteya vairagena cha gruhyate. Lord Krishna says, Asamchayam mahabhavo. Oh Arjuna, there is no doubt. Asamshayam, there is no doubt that mind is very difficult to curb. Because in the previous shloka, he said that it's very difficult to control. So immediately what Krishna is saying, Arjuna, yes, there is no doubt that mind is very difficult to control. But he says it is possible. How? Abhyasene tu kaunteya vairagya. So it tells the two things for all of us, that abhyas and vairagya. Abhyas means practice, and vairagya means detachment. You remember in the second session where we discussed the root cause of all the suffering is attachment. And here Krishna is actually telling is that if we practice detachment, with the detachment and regular practice of controlling, engaging the mind in the positive things, Krishna is assuring all of us, rest assured, he said that you will be able to control the mind by abhyas and vairagya. Now, sometimes the question becomes, what if I'm not able, if I practiced this yoga process to some extent, and then finally I lost the path in between, what happens? Arjuna also had a similar question. Let's see what happens if we are not able to successfully practice, not able to complete or reach to the destination. What would happen to me? Arjuna asked this question. Then I am neither this place, I am not completely in the material things nor in the spiritual things. So what is the situation of mine who are started the practice of this yoga, but who are not able to complete it? What is the destination of that? And Krishna asks or answers the question of that in 6.41. He says that Prapya punya krutam lokan usitva shaswati samaha shuchina srimanta gehe yogo bhrasta abhijayate. He says the unsuccessful yogi, after many years of enjoyment on the planets of the pious living entities, is born into family of the righteous people or into family of rich aristocracy. So he says that don't worry, Arjuna, If you are not able to successful, there is no loss. Param drashta nivartate. He says that in Bhagavad Gita 2.4, he says that 2.40, he says that don't worry, even if little, swalpam apesya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Even if you do little bit on this path, there is no loss. Why? Because he says that either you will be born into the higher planetary system where the enjoyment is multiple times, multifold, and after that you will be taking birth into the family of devotees or srimanta in the rich family where you have all the facilities. So don't worry that you will be losing from this place or that place. But Krishna is assuring that yes, you will have the things, but he said that don't get settled here, because if you just get settled into that, then again there is a possibility that we may lose our path. So this is what Krishna is telling. Now we are coming to the next session, next section of that. Now, if I control the senses, what is that? Why should I control the senses? What is the benefit that I will get? What is the motivation for me? What is the inspiration? What's in for me? Question comes, what's in for me if I control the senses? Let's hear from Bhagavad Gita, Lord Sri Krishna. Very, very important shloka, very beautiful shloka. And that shloka comes after the 22nd shloka of Bhagavad Gita, where it says that, he says that last week we discussed that, where he says 5.22, that we will be able to, because this material happiness and distress has the beginning and it has end, and the intelligent persons doesn't get engaged into these activities. Nateshu ramate buddha. The intelligent person will actually not engage into these things, because adi antavanta kamteya nateshu ramate buddha. And immediately after that, Krishna says this shloka, what would happen if we are able to control our mind and senses? Very beautiful shloka. He says, Shaknoti haivaye sodum prak sharira vimokshanad kam krodha udbhavam vegam sah yukta sa sukhi naraha. Krishna says that you will become sukhi, happy. How? He says, Shaknoti eva sodun. If you are able to tolerate before giving this prak sharira, sharira means this body, vimokshana, giving up this body, that means living up this body. Before that, if you are able to tolerate what? Kama, krodha, udvam, vegam. Vegam means the urges, kama and krodha. If you are able to tolerate the urges of the material senses and check the forces of the desire and anger, kama, krodha, udvam, vegam, then what will happen? He is well situated and is happy in this world. Saha sukhi naraha. So that Krishna says that such a nara is very, very happy. What else we want? Because the whole purpose that we are trying, aspiring to become very happy. Here Krishna says that not fulfilling our desire, we become happy. Rather, by tolerating the desires, we become very happy. See the complete contrast between the material world promises and Bhagavad Gita promises. Bhagavad Gita's instruction for all of us that don't fulfill the material desire. You do the whatever is required minimum, but don't over endeavor. Because if you over endeavor, we saw that the previous shloka that it will actually lead just like the fuel on the fire. But if you are able to control before leaving this body, then you are a sa sukhi sa naraha. Such a person is the happiest person. Shaknoti haiva sodun prak sharira vimokshanam kama krodha udbhavam vegam sa yukta sa sukhi nara. So beautiful. Krishna is actually telling us. So this is the beauty of our Vedic culture. Simple living and high thinking. We were not trained. Our ancestors were they were living very simple life, because they know that if we engage into this fulfilling the material desire, we will never get happy. Rather controlling the senses, rather controlling the mind, we become very happy. Another beautiful shloka from Bhagavad Gita 5.7. Yoga yukta vishuddhatma vijitatma jitendriya sarva bhutatma bhutatma kurvan apina lipyate. Krishna says that one who works in devotion, who is a very pure soul and who controls his mind and senses, is very dear to everyone. Jitendriya. Jitendriya means who is able to control his senses. And what happens? And everyone is very dear to him. For such a person, he becomes dear to everyone and everyone becomes so dear. That is the result of controlling the senses. Though always working, such a man is never entangled. Kurvan api na lipyate. He doesn't get entangled. Who? Person who is working in a devotion, pure Vishuddhatma, is a pure soul. Vijitatma Jitendriya, who is able to control his mind and senses. Sarvo Bhutatma Bhutatma is very dear to all Bhutatma, all the living entities, and all the living entity becomes dear to him. What else we want? Today, we are struggling, forget about every living entity, we are struggling to have becoming dear to our near and dear one. What to talk about Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma. We become attractive because of this exhibition of this selfless attitude towards the other, exhibitions of the control of our mind, exhibition of the control of our senses. We become very attractive, and the other people get attracted to us. So beautiful. Krishna is actually telling the result of those things. One more shloka, one more beautiful shloka from Bhagavad Gita, which actually talks about that. जितात्मान प्रशांतस्य परमात्मा समाहित शीतोष्ण सुख दुखेषु तथा मान अपमानयो. So Krishna says, one who has conquered the mind, jitatmana means one who has conquered the mind. Jita means conquering, mana means mind. One who has conquered the mind, prashantasya paramatma samaya, the super soul is already reached, because he has attained the prashantasya, he has attained the tranquility. And what happens to such a person? Because we are discussing about what happens when one is able to control the senses. So Krishna is telling one more time here. In the previous shloka, we saw that what happened. He is very dear to everyone. Sarva bhutatma bhutatma. He becomes very dear to all living entities, and all living entities becomes dear to him. In the previous shloka, he says that he becomes very sukhi. And in this shloka, what happens? He is able to control such a person. For such a person who attends, who is able to control jitatmana prashantasya paramatma samahita, he is able to, for such a person, shita ushna. For such a person, heat and cold, sukha dukha, happiness and distress, mana and apaman, honor and dishonor are all the same. That means he doesn't get disturbed by, if there is a summer season or winter season. He doesn't get disturbed if there is a sukha or a dukkha. He doesn't get disturbed when, if there is a man or there is apaman. So beautiful, so beautiful. What Krishna is telling. Now you can see there are 3 degrees of levels of that we actually perceive these things. First is the Sita Ushna, Sukha Dukha, Man Apaman. So Krishna is telling first is that Sita Ushna. So what happens? Sita Ushna is on the very senses level, right? So we'll feel hot, we become, we get cold. So it is on the senses level, the bodily level. Next is the Sukha and Dukha. That is on the mental level. And the next is the Mana Apaman, that is on intelligence level. So Krishna is telling all 3 levels one is able to tolerate. But who can tolerate such a, who can come to that level of degree where is able to tolerate Sita, Ushna, Sukha, Dukkha, Mana, Apaman? Person who has Jitatmana Prashantasya Paramatma Saman, person who is able to conquer the mind, and for such a person, he is already Prashantasya, he's already attained, he has already attained the tranquility. So nice. So this was the last shloka of Bhagavad Gita that we would discuss today. So here, what we discussed, to recap ourselves, mind has likes and dislikes. I like this person, I don't like this person. I love this person, I hate this person. And so many likes, dislikes, and all those stuff. So then, because of that, mind actually goes into either the bhoga or tyaga. So if we have to control the mind, Srila Prabhupada says that controlling the mind is the first and primary duty of the spiritual practitioner, the yogis. Without that, we cannot advance in our spiritual practices. Then how do we control the mind and the senses? Then Srila Prabhupada, we saw that we have to control the mind by giving the positive engagement, and also by regulating our activities. Then we discuss from the different shlokas from Bhagavad Gita, Yukta Ahara Viharasya. One must be very regular. One cannot eat too much, One cannot sleep too, we cannot less, we cannot eat too less, we cannot sleep too much, we cannot sleep too less. So then Krishna coming from that shloka to the next shloka, where he says that we should be very regulated in yukta ahara vihara, say yukta chestasya karmas, in our activities. One should be very regulated. Then what happens? Yogo bhavati dukkha. Then if we are regulated in our mind, we'll be able to mitigate all the material things. Then what if we are not able to successfully reach our destination? Then Krishna says, don't worry, you will actually go to the higher planetary system, because swalpam apesya dharmasya trayate mahatavad. Even if you do some little things on this spiritual path, there is no loss or diminish, because it get credited into our permanent account. And then either you take birth into rich srimanta, or you get into the you get birth in the devotees family, where you get the favorable situation to practice this Krishna consciousness. And in the last session, uh, last section, we discussed about the what are the benefits if we control or regulate our senses. The first thing Krishna says that one become a sukhi. शक्नोति है सोढुम प्राक शरीर विमोक्षण काम क्रोध उद्भवम वेगम स युक्त स सुखी नरा. Such a person is a sukhi. In the second shloka, we discussed that such a person becomes yoga sarva bhutatma bhutatma. So he becomes dear to all the living entities, and all living entities become dear to him. And the third shloka, which is on the screen, we discussed that if we are able to control our senses, if we are able to regulate our eating, sleeping, and recreation and our work, then we will able to have, and one who has conquered the mind, such a person, he is not disturbed in a sita ushna sukha dukha tata mana apamana jitatmana prashantasya paramatma samahit sitoshna sukha dukkeshu tata mana apamanayo. So with that, we come to the practical tips of the day. How do you do on a daily basis this? Now, if we are getting up at say, I don't know from you, but let's take some example of if somebody is getting up at 9 o'clock. I hope that all these participants here are they get up early, but say somebody is getting at 9 o'clock, and now he get very much inspired from this today's session, and tomorrow immediately he gets up at 5 o'clock, and then he gets up for 3 4 days, and then over the period he's not able to maintain, because we have to, if we have to regulate, if we have to change our habits, bad habits, stopping the bad habits and cultivating the good habits, it cannot happen over the night. We have to, because it is the example given is that heating of the frog. For example, if you give very high temperature, suddenly the frog will actually jump out of that. But you give regulated little bit little bit flame, so that it the frog get acquainted to that. Then slowly, once it get acquainted, then slowly increase that, then slowly increase that, and slowly increase that, and finally you will be able to tolerate. But suddenly, if you give the very high temperature, the frog will actually jump out of that. He will not be able to tolerate that. So similarly, for us, we have to take a baby step. Baby step. If you are getting up at 9 o'clock, say 8:45, 8:30, like this, if you can make a baby step, then we'll be able to sustain something for over a period of long time. So don't do the drastic changes. Do take baby steps. And of course, constant practice of chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, because that will help us to strengthen our intelligence. And when intelligence is strengthened, it can actually control the mind. And the mind is controlled, then we'll be able to cultivate the good habits and get rid of the bad habits. Have a schedule that give times that one of the questions may come that how can I manage the time? So give the priority. What is most important thing, that put in a bucket or the bowl, and then next second important, and third important, and the last which are less important. So you would have seen this from the time management perspective from outside world. People tell that you put most important things in the day first in the day. So similarly, keep very dedicated, and the first time, first prominence or the first priority to Lord Krishna, chanting his holy name and engaging. And then rest of the day is dedicated for our activities. You maintain your progress, monitor your progress over a period of time, have a guide in our life, read regular scripture. That will actually help us to change the habits from whatever habits that we have, to make to the get rid of the bad habits and cultivate or adopt the good habits. So these are the practical steps, and it is said that if you do something for continuous 90 days, it becomes the second habit. So try something for 90 days and you see that it becomes a habit. So as we have been telling that very important thing, all these practice tips that we are giving, that will not get realized unless and until we have chanting of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra in our day-to-day activity. So let us see here. Krute dhyato Vishnum Tretayat Ejato Mukam Dwapare Paricharyam Kalau Tad Hari Kirtanam. All this possible, whatever the results in the previous yugas are possible by different ways of self-realization, is possible simply by chanting the holy name of Lord Sri Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Iti Shorashakam Namanam Kali Kalmasha Nasanam Natha Paratara Upay Sarva Vedeshu Drushyate. The 16 names composed of the 32 syllables are the only means of counteract the evil effects of this Kali Yuga. So I'm requesting, so all of you, wherever you are sitting, so we will have at least 16 times chanting this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So let's focus on this. Wherever you are sitting, try to sit in erect, straight position. Try to bring the mind to the hearing the holy name of Lord Sri Krishna. Chanting the holy name of Lord Krishna is a prayer. Praying from our bottom of our heart, Krishna, please engage me in your devotional service. That is the prayer that we are offering to Krishna while chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Wherever the mind goes, please bring back it to the hearing the holy name. And it will go definitely, because that is Chanchal Hi Mana Krishna. The mind's nature is to go flicker here and there. So bring back that mind. Yato yato niccharati manaha chanchalam astiram. The mana, bring wherever it goes, bring it in control and make the mind hear the holy name of Lord Sri Krishna. So before we chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra 16 times, let's offer our blessings, offer our obeisances to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates, seek their blessings so that we'll be able to chant attentively and in a prayerful mood from bottom of our heart. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So let us see how many of us are our regular poll, the last poll of the day. How many of you are chanting regularly? We would like to see each and every individual at the end of the 9 sessions or now itself that everyone should chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra on a regular basis. There is no loss. It's the only that we all get benefited out of that. There is nothing lost. And today we will see a wonderful story of a celebrity. And she says in that how there is no loss in this. It is only we who get benefited out of this. So we still have only 60% of the participants. I request all of the others to participate quickly. Will be end in 10 seconds. 4 more seconds. 3, 2, 1. We have only 70% participants here. And we'll end the polling here and see what happens here. So 28% of the participants are saying that yes, they are regularly chanting one round of Hare Krishna Mahamantra regularly. 32%, very, very pleasing to Srila Prabhupada, that more than one round of Hare Krishna Mahamantra they are chanting. So that means 38 plus 40, 60% of the devotees are saying they are chanting a regular basis. Very happy, very nice to hear that 60% of that. 35% is a big number. The maximum number of participants are saying they chanted few days but not daily. I request, if something that you want to give us, something that you got benefited out of all those things, only one thing that we are asking, that engage in chanting of Hare Krishna Mantra. Don't want anything else. Only one request from bottom of our heart for all the volunteers and from every one of us and from us, that please engage in chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Try it for some time. It works. It's a bonus. If it doesn't work, there is no loss. So we discussed the second part of the regulated lifestyle, and next week we will see who is pulling my string. The shloka for this week homework. I see some devotees very regularly they are making the clips and sending to our volunteers. And here is the shloka number 41 from chapter number 2, that Vyavasayatmika buddhir ekehe kuru nandana bahusha he anantasya buddhayo avyavasayinam. So Krishna says those who are on this path are resolute in their purpose and their aim is one. Vyavasayatmika buddhir ekehe. Eke means one. O beloved child of Kuru, O Kuru Nandana, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many branches. The purpose is fixed, only one thing, they are resolute in the purpose. But if we have multi things, Bahu Shaka, if our intelligence is fixed on multi things, I want this, I want this, I want that, and all those things, then we will not be resolute in your purpose. So this is very suit to our discussions about regulated lifestyle. So regulated lifestyle means we should be very resolute in our purpose, and for that purpose we should be our goal should be fixed on one thing instead of having multi branch Bahu Shaka he anantasya. Rather having the Bahu Shaka, we can have a very single pointed focus in our life, and you can see that the beautiful transformation that happens in our life. So the story that I was telling that earlier, the videos that we are going to see here, sees the supermodel was there in Dutch, born in Dutch family, and Shupasar, and how she turned to Krishna and how she dedicated her life for serving Krishna. So give a minute, I will share a video here. I have started that. I hope you are able to see the screen. And it is beautiful to watch here because you can see that sometimes the question may come that, oh, I am too busy. Oh, what will happen to my reputation, my things, because I am very reputed in the society. I have a lot of followers. What would happen? But here is the thing that how if we are dedicated in our things, we can actually transform or dedicate our life for the pleasure of Krishna. I hope you will be able to hear. I will just play one thing, 1 or 2 seconds, and just let me know that whether you are able to hear that. Are you able to hear? Can you tell on the unmute yourself and just let me know whether you are able to hear that? Hare Krishna. Again, chat. I'm not able to open the chat. Hare Krishna. No, unable to hear the video. Maybe Mrutyunjay, can you please?
I can play. So you stop sharing, I will share.
Okay, I stop, bro. Just two couple of minutes maybe before Prabhu share the screen. Any reflection, any realization, any thought? Can we have quick? Okay, here we go. We are able to see the screen. Yes, Prabhu, please go ahead.
Krishna. From a supermodel to
Are you able to hear, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu, I can hear.
Okay. Okay, then I will play.
Hare Krishna. From a supermodel to a super devotee. She had money, glamour, exciting work, admiring friends, but she gave it all up for Krishna. Srila Prabhupada would say to the people coming, she gave up everything for Krishna. Now you should do the same thing. Prabhupada preached everyone like that. Anne Schoffers has lived what most women can hardly dream. Born of an illustrious Dutch stage family, she entered the Danish Royal Ballet at age 6 and performed during the next 10 years until she grew too tall, that is, 5 feet 11 inches by age 16. She went on to become Miss Denmark in 1965 and set out soon after to earn a living. Within 6 months, her picture appeared on the cover of Vogue magazine, and that launched her career as one of Europe's most sought-after fashion models.
Maybe you can
A
put the
million
captions
dollars
also,
and 3
bro.
dozen magazine
Captions.
covers later, Anne had wealth, fame, and apartments in most European capital cities. Anne Schoffers had everything, except maybe happiness. But that posed no problem. In her world, if you didn't have something, you sent out for it. The young woman left all makeup or jewelry. Her dress is a single piece of embroidered cotton, 9 yards long, wrapped around the waist and brought over the head. Since becoming a devotee of Lord Krishna, Anne prefers the reserved appearance that a sari offers. Women who live for the next new dress, she says. In 1973, while flying from one modeling assignment to another, Anne met a young woman in Orly Airport, Paris. She told Anne that she came from the Krishna temple, where everyone practiced bhakti yoga, devotional service to God.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Can you
Explained.
pause, Prabhu? There is some screen, some windows obstructing the view on the top, and you can also put the titles, captions. Yeah, some near the tails, that Vedic tails. No, there is some. Yeah, that window is obstructing the view. And if you can possibly share the captions also, so that.
Caption is not there, Prabhu. One minute.
Oh, you downloaded that?
Yes. I can play it from there also. Is that okay here? Where it will go? Okay, I can minimize this.
Because I was doing that. Okay.
Is that fine now, Prabhu? Caption is not there in that.
Okay, just go ahead then. No problem. Let's go ahead.
And sensed that yoga led to a superior kind of
Now we lost the audio, Prabhu. Earlier was good.
Okay, Prabhu. One minute.
Have you started?
Yes, Prabhu.
We are still that C is actually near the altar.
Is it coming now?
No, no,
Came now, Prabhu?
no. The window looks like that is frozen.
Oh,
Okay. Let me try if I can do from the captions on, because it was YouTube. Can I try, Prabhu, once?
yeah, bro.
Share computer sound. Just let me know, Prabhu, if you can see the.
Yeah, Prabhu, we are getting the audio.
What is that?
We are getting the audio. You can play.
मैं विवेक बिंद्रा, फाउंडर एंड सीईओ।
Oh, Krishna, what happened?
A super devotee.
Are you able to see now, Prabhu?
Money,
Yes,
glamour,
Prabhu.
exciting work, admiring friends. But she gave it all up for Krishna. Srila Prabhupada would say to the people coming, "She gave up everything for Krishna. Now you should do the same thing." Prabhupada preached everyone like that. Anne Schoffers has lived what most women can hardly dream. Born of an illustrious Dutch stage family, she entered the Danish Royal Ballet at age 6 and performed during the next 10 years until she grew too tall, that is, 5 feet 11 inches by age 16. She went on to become Miss Denmark in 1965 and set out soon after to earn a living. Within 6 months, her picture appeared on the cover of Vogue magazine, and that launched her career as one of Europe's most sought-after fashion models. $1 million and 3 dozen magazine covers later, Anne had wealth, fame, and apartments in most European capital cities. Anne Schoffers had everything, except maybe happiness. But that posed no problem. In her world, if you didn't have something, you sent out for it. The young woman left all makeup or jewelry. Her dress is a single piece of embroidered cotton 9 yards long, wrapped around the waist and brought over the head. Since becoming a devotee of Lord Krishna, Anne prefers the reserved appearance that a sari offers. Women who live for the next new dress, she says. In 1973, while flying from one modeling assignment to another, Anne met a young woman in Orly Airport, Paris. She told Anne that she came from the Krishna temple, where everyone practiced Bhakti Yoga, devotional service to God. Anne explained, "I was familiar with yoga exercises and sensed that yoga led to a superior kind of life. But I told the devotee it wasn't really for me, since I didn't have the time and it didn't seem to go along with my work." She explained that Bhakti Yoga was very simple and that I could do it anywhere, anytime. She gave me a book and the address of the Paris temple, and I promised to visit.
Hi, house.
Hey, Villas! What are you doing here?
We needed a new pot.
There was a class on Bhagavad Gita going on, so I sat down with 30 or so other guests and listened to Bhagwan Goswami speak about how conflict arises from people falsely identifying themselves with their bodies. White, black, man, woman, rich, poor. The temple was located in a very elegant section of Paris, but the devotees appeared humble and unpretentious. Their clothes were simple and everyone sat on the floor. After the class, I went to Bhagwan Goswami and told him I wanted to do yoga. "All you have to do is chant Hare Krishna," he said. He explained that the name of God is not different from God and that chanting puts one in direct contact with God through His holy name. I said, "Is that all I have to do?" Actually, I wasn't sure how that was yoga, but I saw no reason not to try. Chanting helped me give up bad habits. It was amazing, especially since I wasn't trying very hard. I had been smoking since age 13. When I started chanting Hare Krishna, I would pick up a cigarette and tell myself, First, I'm going to chant one round on my beads. After one round, I would think, no, I'm going to chant 2 rounds, then smoke. By the time I finished 2 rounds of chanting beads, I felt so good I didn't need the cigarette anymore. In the beginning, I chanted with a playful attitude. But after a while, I discovered that chanting had changed my vision of things. I was no longer impressed by a ride in a Rolls Royce or by seeing my picture on a magazine cover. Socializing with non-devotees became distasteful. Instead of going to parties, I would visit the Krishna temple in different countries and bring flowers for the altar. I liked the devotees' company and always felt at ease around them. I used to bring girlfriends to the temple, but all it came to was rumors that my involvement with Krishna consciousness was just a publicity stunt. Finally, one day I picked up the phone, called my agent and told him to cancel all my bookings because I had decided to move into the temple. I did menial jobs. I washed the temple floor and made flower garlands for the altar. Then one day I cooked and everyone liked it. So for a whole year, I cooked for 110 devotees. Like the other devotees in the temple, Anne followed the strict routine of daily devotional activity. Each day she rose at 4 a.m. to bathe and take part in morning ceremonies and classes. Then she chanted for an hour and a half on her beads. The entire community took breakfast together at 8:30. And then each one went off to his or her service for the day. For several months, Anne worked intensely on translating the Bhagavad Gita into Danish and took part in Hare Krishna festivals. She even organized a soiree at a fashion photographer's studio. On her guest list were friends from the modeling agency, members of the press, and acquaintances from Paris society. For the event, devotees prepared a banquet of exotic vegetarian dishes, and devotee musicians played songs on classical Indian instruments. The next day, articles started appearing in the press across Europe. Cover girl chooses Krishna. In 1974, Anne travelled to India with the Paris devotees for an annual pilgrimage. She visited Vrindavan, where Lord Krishna had performed his pastimes 5,000 years ago, and she saw Mayapur in West Bengal, the birthplace of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who had inaugurated the congregational chanting of Hare Krishna as the most sublime method for reviving love for God in the present age. When she got back and requested initiation, she is now Satrupa Devi Dasi, a disciple of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedant Swami Prabhupada. At the initiation, she vowed to abandon all intoxicants, meat eating, gambling, and sex outside of marriage, and to chant 16 rounds of beads daily. She strictly follows these principles despite constant travel, for she has resumed modeling, but with a difference. Her purpose now is to help pay for the construction of a school for devotee children. She says, "To help build the school, I have to go where the work is and not be afraid of falling down into bad habits again. I try to remember my spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, who came alone to the West without any money or friends to spread love of Krishna, and that gives me inspiration." She further said, "Once I was modeling for $4 million worth of diamonds. The owners, the security guards, the studio people, everyone was worried and nervous that someone might try to steal them. I had to stay in my seat the whole time and not move about the studio while wearing the stones. The diamonds were very beautiful, but what a waste of money and what a terrible position the people who like to wear them must be in, constantly in danger of being robbed and killed just for wearing such things. Later I was thinking, we may have such opulence in this life, but just like those diamonds I wore and then finally had to give them back. Everything that's given to us in this material world has to be given back when we leave. This is all temporary. I model Dior gowns, Saint Laurent originals, but everything I wear, I have to give it back. In this world, we are allowed to use Krishna's energy for a little while, like this body, but that too will grow old, and then we have to give it up. When modeling, Satrupa refuses furs, cigarettes and alcohol. This limits her assignments, but opens a lot of discussions. She says, people are curious about Krishna consciousness. All they know is what they read in the papers. But when you talk with them, they get very interested and start thinking about it seriously. I encourage others to just try chanting Hare Krishna. They have nothing to lose and everything to gain. It doesn't cost anything, but it brings satisfaction, whether you're a success or a failure materially. Actually, material success is failure because it never brings satisfaction. It doesn't matter how much success you have if you don't have Krishna, she says. That's a fact. Without Krishna, just headaches. There's a young girl, Barbara, who travels with me. She is very pretty and wanted to become a model. So I have her meet all these models, eminently successful people, and afterwards she just shakes her head. She says, they are not happy. They are in total anxiety. She's beginning to realize that there's less to glamour than what most people think. If you become rich, you need dogs and locks. Become a model and spend your time worrying about being on next month's cover or waking up with a wrinkle. But become Krishna's devotee and your life becomes sublime. Keep chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and you will see all your anxieties fade away. You will feel a new kind of bliss and the joy to be with Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Any quick thought on this? Any material success is a failure if there is no Krishna. And without Krishna, it is a headache. No matter how much we actually get it, it has no value if we don't have Krishna in our life. And when we have Krishna, our life becomes sublime. So let's see here any thoughts, any questions. We have a few more minutes with us. Any thought on the videos that we saw? Any questions on discussions what we did on our mind control? Hare Krishna, are you able to hear me?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Okay. Any thought on the video? Quick, one or two on the screen. Can I request one or two devotees, participants, give their thought what is actually. Nilima Prabhu is saying that yes, very profound statement. So true. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Sujata Mataji is saying something total bliss. Very learning. Okay. Can anyone come on the screen about the videos that you saw from the and Shopasas, the 1960s or 70s, the model and how she turned to Krishna? And can we imagine someone leaving everything aside and coming to the temple, living with and doing all the very menial things like cooking, washing the vessels, utensils, cleaning the temples? We are not unmuted. Prabhu, can you unmute the devotees?
Yes, Prabhu, done.
Okay. Nilima Prabhu says it's a true
Hare Krishna,
definition of.
Prabhuji.
Yes, Shobha Mataji, what's your thought on the model and Shupasas?
Yeah. It was really total bliss, and I feel like I should become like that. And Krishna has to accept me. He should give me all the. I mean, he should turn my life towards him. It is in his hands, and as such, I'm in that path. He has already started that path, I feel like. And attending the classes and today's video was really highly inspiring and really speechless. That's all I can say. Hare Krishna.
Because
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, so true, Mataji, because we think in India that we follow the Western culture, we'll get a lot of money, glamour, fame, follow off, and all those things, and we'll be happy. Now, she told her own example, and the Barbara, that the girl that she was traveling with her, and she said they're not happy, anxiety. Even she has a $4 million diamond, and she was anxious. What if somebody take it away? Right? So,
But material things will really create a tension, chaos, anything. But in Krishna's world, we are Krishna is with us, total peace. No, I mean, security is also not required. He is only a security for us. Total secure. Nothing is lost.
Niharika Mataji saying that not a conflict. Why are we so inclined towards only foreigners turning to Krishna and not Indians? Good question, Mataji. It is not intended to show the foreigner, but it was intended to show something very celebrity and show that how celebrity can do, whether it's Indian or something, it doesn't matter. For us, just the point was that to show someone who can, who has renounced everything and renounced in a sense that dedicated or channelized everything for the service of Krishna. So we have many examples, but especially this context, we wanted to show that because the video got recently, yesterday, only some devotees. And so we thought it would be good to show that. Of course, other point, which was very practical, and Srila Prabhupada thought that when Srila Prabhupada started Krishna consciousness in 1953, for your information, Niharika Mataji, in Jhansi, there was no follower. People were coming and going. And when Prabhupada went to the United States, when he brought all these white, he says that my white elephant disciples, and everybody started practicing. So because we are, even today, somewhere we are enamored that if we go to that culture and we follow that, we'll become happy. But when we show this example, because of that, we actually come to the senses that, yes, what is the realities in Krishna. Yes, Sandhya Rani is saying, as many of us follow foreigners and Western culture. Yeah, that is how, but of course, our West Indian culture is the best. So that is why, because Vedic culture is so simple. Srila Prabhupada actually talking that, and Krishna telling us that eating and sleeping, If you are regulated, you will have very beautiful life, no problem. Yogo bhavati dukkha will be actually saved from all kinds of material things. Okay, any other thoughts? How can one who is in the material opulence for so long suddenly give up such association for something totally new for her? Uh, it so what we see only a small portion of the picture, that in her life she is born in the Western culture and she has no connection with Krishna. But what she has done in the previous life, we don't know. So probably she would have been practicing for a long time and then she just got some kind of ignition and suddenly it actually became a flame. So we never know. So that is why when we see the small picture or very limited vision, we see that we say, how is it possible that somebody can do that? We have so many examples. We personally experienced here in this Bangalore ACS layout where the devotees having so many things, especially the one devotee from the Odisha, and he was eating the fish, non-veg and everything. Just within the span of 3 months, he stopped everything and eventually got initiated. So you can see that we don't know what is the background, what practices they have done in the past. But from the current picture, it may appear that, oh, it was a completely foreigner for her Krishna culture, but in the previous life, it could have been the practices that she might be doing that.
Hello, Prabhu, Sujata here. Sujata.
Yes, Sujata Mataji. How can
It was an amazing session today, really very nice it was. And
Thank you,
I can relate to it. I have a friend, Bala. He was
ma'am.
totally drinking and all this, eating meat and all. But now he's to become Krishna consciousness and he's really changed a lot and it has helped him a lot.
Oh, very good. Is he part of our our session, Mataji, or?
He's a part of ISKCON, yeah.
Oh, okay. So he's a part of ISKCON, but not our session, but he's a part of now.
Not a session.
Okay, okay. And now he stopped all these bad habits. We have to cultivate those things and
Completely, yeah, and he's totally surrendered to Krishna, yeah. Because I know it because I am just recently met him actually. So really out by his change. And
okay.
even the video which you showed is really so as inspiring. Like I can understand when she was into modeling and when she came into Krishna consciousness, and you won't believe, as per the video, like she's again gone back to that work, and plus she was doing good things. So it's really a very good thing. I'm
Yes,
really
yes.
yeah.
We have one industrialist in India who was actually just left body some months or years ago. That he was actually going to, and he was a big businessman in India. But he was actually, when he came in contact with our ISKCON movement, and he started practicing Krishna consciousness. Before he go to, now he was doing his own regular activities, but now in a way that how he was thinking that how can I devote my each and every activity to please Krishna. So before he go to his job, he used to chant Hare Krishna Mahamanta, read and all things. So that is what is dovetailing our activities to Krishna, whether we are a small timer in our career profession or timer, doesn't matter. Finally, we have to dedicate our activities for the pleasure of Lord Sri Krishna.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. Any other thoughts, any questions on the screen? We can have some more minutes and then we'll pause here. Everything is temporary in this material world. Hari, it takes the chanting of previous word Hare Krishna to identify truth that only the Krishna, the real happiness matters. Wonderful thought, Prabhu, Hari Prabhu. Nilima Mataji saying chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantras. Okay. Any other thoughts? Any things? We have 43 participants, including me. Anybody has any questions or things? Otherwise, we'll stop here.
Prabhuji, I have a doubt over here. From the session 1, this is Shobha. From the session 1, I have been noticing, I have a question which is going in my mind. See, whenever we are chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, I notice you say, lifting your hands up and chanting. So can you please tell me the significance of that, please?
So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he used to raise his hands, and so it is because internally we don't have now mood of complete surrender to Krishna. So externally now we put tilak, dhoti, kurta, and all those.
Breadcrumbs ke bina wala wo.
Nisha Javeri Mataji, can you please mute yourself? Nisha Javeri.
क्या उसमें गाले क्या तो मत खा.
Nisha Javeri Mataji, can you mute yourself? Mrutyunjay Prabhu, can you mute Nisha Mataji? So So because we are a new fight, we are beginners. So it's a long way for us to completely surrender to Krishna. So by externally, by doing these things, that means we are surrendering to Krishna. So these things means that Krishna, we want to surrender to you. I wish to surrender you. I like to surrender you. So these external things actually help us internally as well.
Oh, thank you, Prabhuji.
So to surrender to Krishna, that is what is the purpose of our life, to please Krishna. Ham sarvasya prabhu, sarva dharman parityaja mam ekam sharanam raja, ham tom sarva papeva mokshesi vimasucha. Like if some enemies or something, they surrender, they ask us to like raise your both hand. That means you don't have
Yeah.
no other shelter now. We have no other shelter, Krishna. When Draupadi raised both hand, Govinda, I don't have any other shelter now. You are the only my shelter. Please protect me. Please help me. Please save me. And Krishna appeared there.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Every time we see some known faces on this, like Shobha Mataji, Sujata Mataji, can we have some new devotees or new innocents that we have never come on the screen and share something about their experience, positive, negative? Don't worry. Don't worry, whatever it could be that. If you would like to share another 4 or 5 minutes, and we'll pause here, because we just wanted to see that the feedback, live feedback here, whether it is helping, not helping, what we can do to make it better, or any. Nisha Javeri Mataji, Hari Govind, Hari Kolosu. Yes, Prabhu. Hari Kolosu, Prabhu. Anything you would like to say something? Hare Krishna. Okay. So I think we'll pause here. We'll continue next week. Who is pulling my strings? And
Hi, I have a quick question. You said that your hand should be raised as if you have surrendered to Krishna.
yes,
But I have been taught to do the mala all the time, if possible. And how can it be two different factors?
yeah. While chanting, we cannot do this way, right? So we have to hide our bag, not to show to the others, and then we. That's why we put into the bag, and then we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. I'm not sure if I understood.
Sorry, we have to. I'm sorry, I missed you. What did you say? We have to hide our.
Sorry, Hare Krishna Mataji. Did I understand your question that we have to raise our hand, and at the same time, how do we can chant? Is that your question, Mataji?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So, because when we are chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, if our hands have the beads, we will not be able to focus on that. Second thing is that it is recommended that generally we don't put the beads outside of bag, because of it's a very precious, very sacred things, and we put in a bag. Second thing is that it is not generally that people show outside that, so they put into the bag from the outside view. So that because the chanting beads that we have been chanting for many days and months, actually it becomes very powerful, very potent. So it's very sacred and it's very dear to all of us. So when we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra to the newcomers, we give the new beads. But when somebody chanting for a long period of time, we actually keep in the bag, not to show to the people. So if we chant with the beads raising our hands, it will be very difficult.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. We'll end here. Okay. So let's thank all the devotees who are participating week after week, and our volunteers who are continuing to do this selfless service. So let's thank all of them by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. See you on next Sunday, same time.
Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Just one question. I'm a little late in asking. This one has this Navdurga has started. Correct?
Sorry?
Yeah, this Navdurga has started. Correct?
Navratri.
in Navratri. So the thing is that we have to do different puja during this one. Correct?
Yes.
If we do this, then we definitely have time limits, like because we are in a family, we have like parents living with us, kids with us. So what should be done actually?
Yes, now first of all, it actually makes us on depends upon our conviction. Because if we see that in Bhagavatam, there is a shloka which talks about that if you root the water, if you water the root, sorry, if you water the root, everything get nourished. Matlab, patti, phale, sab, everything gets water. So we don't have to go separately watering the branches or the fruits or the flowers. As if you water the roots, everything get nourished. Similarly, the source of everything, the root of everything is Lord Sri Krishna. So if one is convinced of that, then he knows that if I chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it is of inclusive of everything. In the beginning, we may not be of that conviction. So what would happen that you would continue to whatever the practices that we were doing earlier, you may continue that, but
We are like,
in addition
we
to
are,
that, let's chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra as well, whatever the commitment that we have. Yes, Mataji, are you able to hear?
sorry, your voice get lost in between. Yeah. I lost your voice.
So what I was saying is that because we are in the beginning stage, we may not have that connection. So whatever the practices that you are doing, you may continue that, but finally we have to reach, come to the understanding conclusion and conviction that Krishna is the source of everything. Aham sarvasya Prabhu 10.8 Bhagavad Gita. He says that and sarva dharman pariteja mam ekam sharanam raja. He says that 18.66. He says that you surrender unto me. Now, because of our convictions, we may not reach to that conclusion. So eventually we will reach there. But beginning, we may have some practices which you might be doing from your childhood or something. You may continue that, but you can chant Krishna Mahamantra in addition to that. So that is what I was saying.
That I'm doing every day, that I'm not leaving, but still this has in my mind. Like suppose somebody is like doing lot of puja during Navratri and all that, like people do lot of different things. So, but like how actually it should be done? Like because there are different, because in Indian Sanatan Dharma, we give value to all the gods and Paramatma. Shakti is also a part of this, and Shiv Shakti, Shankar,
Yes, sir.
Brahma,
So in one of the session, 8th section, we will see who is the supreme, and that will answer your many of the questions. In 8th session, we will discuss it. But here we can, at this point of time, we can understand that yes, there are many devatas, but there is one supreme Bhagavan, Purushottam Bhagavan, Sri Krishna. So it's like serving all the devatas or serving to the Supreme Lord. So we'll discuss that point in the session number 8, Mataji. But at this point of time, we can understand the root of everything is Lord Sri Krishna. And when we water the root, it actually nurtures everything else as well. So we don't have to separately water or something. So we can do that. However, it doesn't mean that we don't respect them. No, it's not the idea that we are saying. But we understand that the ultimate purpose is to please the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, Bhagavan Purushottam.
maybe I'll come to know in the next sessions.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji.
And the thing is that it is going little longer. So I was a devotee of Shivaji. I used to pray him a lot. But I was thinking of like reading this Gita, and suddenly I came across this on Facebook that a course is going on. So I joined it. So some of the things I'm trying to understand. So that's why I'm just questioning.
So you can continue to worship Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is a great personality. In fact, Bhagavatam says that Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambho. And you see that Lord Shiva is actually meditating, and he's meditating on Vishnu, right? If you see Lord so if you worship Lord Shiva or Krishna, Lord Shiva will not get upset or something that okay. You can because Lord Shiva is not like our material people that, oh, you don't talk to me, then I get upset or something. No, they are very great.
Whatever you say, there is a single God. But I'm just trying to find out what it is. It is that I have started the thing. It's,
So that is what I said, that because if it depends upon our conviction, and the convictions will actually come slowly. That but it doesn't mean that we disrespect anyone, but we just focus on what is the primary purpose of life. Okay, Mataji.
Thank you, Lord.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. We will end here. Hare Krishna.